I'd watched it 1,000 times, and while it wasn't a patch on the books, what adaptation was? But sometimes you just needed something comfortable to watch, especially when it felt as though your life was imploding around you. No, don't look at me like that. I was allowed to be dramatic. Nothing in my life was going the way I'd planned. And that was me. I was a planner. I had everything worked out. Even though buying Bookworm's books with my best friends Kelsey and Sailor had thrown a wrench in the first 5-year plan of my 20s, it had been a good wrench, one I'd welcomed and thrived upon because it had changed my life for the better. I was supposed to be engaged by now, or it was supposed to happen in the next 12 months at least. But here I was, as single as could be, without even a prospect of a boyfriend, despite my best efforts. And now, now the one person who'd broken my heart was back in town. Sebastian Stone, the Montana Bears star pitcher and White Peak's hometown hero. The man who'd once been my best friend, even closer to me than Kinsley and Sailor. I would never forget our senior prom and how he'd hurt me. Sure, I'd never taken the leap and told him I'd had feelings for him. Back then, 18-year-old me had been far too shy, and I'd been so afraid I'd lose him as my friend if he didn't feel the same. As it turned out, he obviously didn't, because I'd seen him making out with the person I hated more than anything in the world. Iris Benefield had done nothing but make my high school life hell, and seeing them together... Back then, I hadn't been able to decide what hurt more. Now, it didn't matter. I was older and definitely wiser. Even though I was absolutely over it, it didn't mean I wanted to see him. I mean, I'd seen him. Just a few days ago, I'd seen him in a parking lot, but I'd turned away before I'd really gotten a good look at him. Not like I didn't know what he looked like. It was hard to avoid him when he was regarded as the hottest baseball player in the league and plastered all over the tabloids like crazy. I also knew he'd picked up a devastating shoulder injury at the start of the season, and likely wasn't going to make it back until next year, if at all, and that was why he was back in White Peak. He hadn't been home in forever, and if he had, it had only been fleeting visits for one reason or another. Now, with his injury and his sister's wedding next weekend, he was back for a while, maybe months. I put my bowl on the coffee table and lay back on the sofa with a groan. I really hadn't seen him since prom, and that was the really awkward part of this. At some point, I was going to run into him, and then what the hell did I do? God damn it, Sailor, I muttered, picking up a stack of books that had been discarded by the last woman who'd come in. Instead of putting them away, she'd left them next to the register. It was because she just knew I would put them away. And she was right. How did I know it was Sailor? Kinsley wasn't working this weekend since she and Josh were having a weekend away in some lodge nearby, where he was apparently going to teach her how to snowboard. Something I'd believe when I saw it. And she at least put the books away. Sighing, I carried the books through the store until they were deposited back in the right place. I stopped at least 4 times to straighten shelves or pick up books that had been dropped in the wrong place. And by the time I got back to the register, I'd been gone for 10 minutes and someone was waiting there for me. "I'm so sorry," I said, slipping behind the register. "Let me take those for you." I rang up the sale to the understanding customer, who didn't mind at all, and waved her goodbye. Tourist season was well and truly over, I thought, as I watched her zip her coat right up to her chin. November brought colder weather, and it was now 49 degrees outside, but I would swear it felt colder. Maybe it was the wind that had rolled in overnight, the wind that kind of smelled like snow was coming. The one that meant books in front of fireplaces and hot cocoa and fuzzy slippers, and I was all about that life. The bell above the door dinged and...